Let's see if we got Jayden Scott. Jayden, can you? There we go. Jayden's been in here all afternoon, kind of listening to what everyone else was saying from around the state. His Archbishop Shaw Eagles getting ready as a 5 seed in that Division II select bracket. Jayden, how are we doing this afternoon? How is life on the West Bank right now?
I mean, life is good. We beat a tough Karen Crow team Friday. We won 8 straight games, so we're doing all right.
Yeah, I think that was, if folks hadn't already tuned in and realized some of the stuff that we were talking about in the spring of the state championship type potential that your crew could have, I think week 10 kind of sent a message around the state. How big was that matchup, whether it be for y'all from a testing yourselves again standpoint or a momentum standpoint, or just kind of continuing to get the word out, put the word out, Shaw's back up?
It was a very big game for us, but disappointed in how many points we allowed. 50 points, that's not how that's not what good defenses do. Shaw is known for defense, gang green, you know what I'm saying? So it was a great win, a great statement, but we got to be better if we want to go to state.
How much did that show? Because I was surprised by that score as well. And I went into the season excited about your defensive crew, but to see the way the offense has come along, to be able to score points and match a high-powered offense like Karen Crow, and maybe on not your typical night of Shaw football, still pull it out against one of the top teams in the state. How huge was that just from an offensive confidence standpoint?
I mean, our offense bailed us out. If you go look at our earlier games when we played teams like St. Aug and teams like St. Charles Catholic, very good offenses, defense, 13 points, 17 points, Those were our days, but, everybody has an off day. And our offense, they held up their end and they carried us that game. So as a defense, we got to come back when we come in the playoffs and carry our offense again because it has to work together. You know what I'm saying?
Jayden, we'll just call that game against Carrickrow kind of like a kind of an anomaly, like not really who you are defensively. Like you said, you look throughout the schedule, you allow 28 points early on in like week 2. But other than that, like you said, it's 13, 15, 17 at the most, and your offense has really been able to put up a lot of points. So, but from experience as a coach, it's really not a bad thing to see before the playoffs start that your offense can carry you and put up a lot of points when you do have the occasional off night, which you're likely not to have ever again the rest of the season, a night quite like that. You're facing against a team in Karen Crow who's incredibly talented, maybe as good as anybody in Division I select. So, looking at your schedule, you have a bye, and then you're looking to face the winner of Evangel and Bel Air. So most likely going to be facing the Evangel Eagles, who have a long storied history. They have a really good defense themselves. So here on the bye week, what's the focus at Shaw, knowing that you don't officially have an opponent on Friday? You're just kind of going to be watching that Evangel Bel Air matchup. But what's the focus for you guys this week defensively to kind of refocus and rebound from maybe, like you said, a night you're not very proud of, still able to get the win? But how do you guys refocus, and how much does the bye week help in that?
The bye week is helping a lot. What we have to do is, what I have to do a better job as a leader is getting our younger kids back on track. We start 2 freshmen, and they're going to be put in more harder positions than what Karen Crow put us in. I think I have to do a better job of getting us to be more together. That game showed our holes as a defense. And as a defense, we're using this bye week to go back and watch more film. We're going to practice harder Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to fix our holes. As seniors, me, Lewis Foster, Cardell Allen, Dallas Braun, Collis Francis, Trevor Whittick, we have to get those younger guys to understand how important it is to not try to play outside your role. Because then when we go to play teams like St. Thomas More, I forgot who else was in that bracket with us.
But yeah, so the first matchup for y'all would be either Evangel or Bel Air, and then the second would be potentially BB and Company with JFK, or Vanderbilt Catholic or Douglas. And so those would be kind of the teams y'all would see for your first couple weeks.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. We have to get those younger kids to understand the aspect of staying in your role. If coach says you have the A gap, and if it's not there, dropping the coverage, then that's what you need to do. We don't want you looking into the backfield and that's not your job, because that's how high-scoring games happen. We had a lot of those mistakes Friday where people were trying to play outside of their role. We have to minimize that. We also have to minimize the turnovers. If you go back and look at it, this is not taking a shot at our offense, but our offense fumbled every game this week. If we want to beat the next teams, turnovers have to stop. Defensive penalties have to stop. Miscommunications have to stop. So we have to use this bye week to criticize each other as players, helpfully, not to degrade anybody, but criticize each other as players so we can come back for the following weeks and do what we have to do to succeed.
Man, you want to talk about a party in the New Orleans area, a quarterfinal between Shaw and JFK would be worth whatever they want to charge admission-wise. All right, so, like you said, you have the bye week. You're getting ready to see what happens between Evangel and Bel Air. Most likely, if you were a betting man, I'd put my money on probably being Evangel, coming down to Shaw. Evangel doesn't do well historically against Shaw. That's a long trip from Shreveport. But when you're facing a team like Evangel with so many state championships and their history and people like that, you've already beaten, a team in Rummel this year that has a lot of history and has won state championships. So what would it mean for y'all to just the next feather in your cap to be maybe beating a team like Evangel that's respected so much throughout the entire state?
Our coaches tell us every week, our opponent has no face. When you go out there, you train. This is what we trained for in April all the way up to August before the season started. You take every team as serious as possible. You game plan for every team. And teams like Evangel, we respect them. But at the end of the day, and I hope they respect us, but at the end of the day, we can't focus too much on what they have done as a history of as a school. What we have to do is understand that, hey man, we dogs too now. We players too. We have to go out there and punch them in the mouth and just play our hardest.
We talk about some of the history and tradition of football in the state and that possible first playoff matchup against Evangel. For you as a guy, a young student athlete growing up on the West Bank, what has it meant to get a chance to play under a Hank Tierney coach, Archbishop Shaw team, to be a part of his return back to a place where there's guys in the NFL or were in the NFL. Ryan Clark's all over ESPN talking about what it meant to be a part of that program years back. For you and your crew, how special has that been to be a part of getting the program back to this sort of a conversation like we're having, and to, be coached by Hank Tierney and that staff, Coach Bo and everybody that came back?
It means a lot. When you have different events at Shaw and you see all the historic Shaw players come back, the Ryan Clarks, the Sharon Carries, the Biamanis of the world, the people that people don't really, talk about. We see all of those players come back, and it's historic because that makes us want to submit our name in the legacy books. We thank Coach Hank for coming back because he's taught us accountability. He our first year with Coach Hank, taking the number one ranked team at the time in Turles Catholic 21-27. That showed us for our second year that, man, we can compete. A lot of people didn't think we could compete. We can compete with anybody. And we thank Coach Hank for giving us the confidence to feel and to play like we can compete. We just hear stories about Sharon Carey and how great he was and possibly being the greatest player to ever come up out of Shaw. And when you watch us and the younger kids, we want that for ourselves. And that's when you have something. When you have players that are willing to just give everything to win, that's when you have something as a team.
There you go. Jayden, I love talking to you, man. Appreciate you taking some time on a Sunday afternoon to chat about kind of where you guys are in the season and what's ahead.
Thank you, man. I was about to go to sleep. I forgot y'all said 150.
You got it, man. Well, go catch a nap. This is, with a bye ahead, this is as good a week as any to take some nap time in and rest up.
Yes, sir. Nice talking with you.
You too, man.
What an impressive, well-spoken kid.
He's one of my favorite members of this senior class around the state to talk to. If you talk to him, anytime you do it, there's a portion of it that almost feels like you're talking to a pastor that's like doling out life lessons left and right. And it's funny to watch him with some of those younger guys. They've got the Carter cousins who both played last year as a freshman and 8th grader, so now still underclassmen, and watching them kind of watch and listen to him. I think the role that he plays, and really that whole senior class with some of the guys he mentioned, Raymond Howard on the offensive side of the ball, another one of those seniors. I think he was mostly listed through defensive guys, but it's a good crew of players working under that good crew of coaches back there getting Shaw where they are.
Yeah, man, he makes you a believer just hearing him talk. You kind of want to, throw on some green and cheer for the Eagles just because so well spoken. Obviously, a testament to not only how he's being raised, but also what Coach Hank's been able to do in a very short amount of time, being back at Shaw. And so it's good for the state of Louisiana to see Shaw back really where they have always been, where they belong to be.
Yeah, like I said, put the word out. Shaw's back up, West Bank thing, all that.